Welcome everybody to the Culture Shock Podcast. This is your boy Pat Bayless, and I'm in the building on a one-on-one interview. This is exciting for me because I've been wanting to do this interview. I'm here with the CEO of Comf, the guy himself. He's been on 2 episodes already. One personally just for his Comf brand, but my guy Ish is in the building.
Pat, what's up, bro?
What up, man? I'm happy that you're here, bro. This is at first this was a group thing that I wanted to do, but I just feel like you're the perfect person to talk about this. The episode being called Mending Men. I think we both been through some trials and tribulations. I think we still go through them, but I think there's a lot that I want to talk about just on the male side. I think this episode is good for men to hear, but I also think it's actually great for the women to hear as well. It's a way of hearing men take accountability. It's a way of maybe understanding certain things that, obviously it'll be personal, me and you, but men go through and stuff like that. So I'm just happy that you're here, bro. So how you doing?
Absolutely, bro. I'm happy to be here. It's always a pleasure coming to, pull up to the Culture Shock podcast and show love. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, these conversations are very important. And sometimes these uncomfortable conversations, you can learn a lot from. So, happy to be here and I'm honored to be the one to, have this conversation.
That. So one thing I want to just start off with is the priority that we have as men that we don't really take accountability for. We do a lot of blaming of the opposite sex, especially now in 2024. We run across that a lot, where men are blaming women, and that's something I really want to touch on because you're a guy that reads the Bible and stuff like that. And in the Bible, the Adam and Eve thing where he was supposed to lead, God gave him the leadership role, but he went and listened to, Eve, and then when it was time to answer to that, he pointed his finger.
Right.
So are you a person that at any point in your life has ever gone through that where you've pointed the finger more than you've actually reflected, or maybe you're the problem?
I feel like a lot of times it takes people to hold themselves accountable, and people are quick to point that finger, but it starts with analyzing yourself and looking into yourself, right? And once you do that, you'll be able to see what your flaws are, see how you respond to certain situations, observe how you're reacting to things, and make a decision on whether that's right or wrong. It's easier to blame someone for a mistake than it is to really sit with yourself and be like, was that the right decision? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that comes with maturity and time and self-reflection and doing the work with yourself, but I, in the beginning, obviously blamed people for things that I felt like it's your fault, like it's me against the world, but really it's just you versus you. You know what I mean?
I want to backtrack as just men. Every male goes through a different situation. We all grow up in different households, different environments. There's some men that grow up without a father, which is tough. There's some men that grow up with a dad. But I kind of want to get into that, because what we don't really catch and fix also affects like our children. I know you're not a dad yet, but like I know anything that I didn't catch or anything I didn't heal from, I could carry that and hand that to my child, right? And going back to people that were raised by women, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But there's still a missing piece. You know what I'm saying? And like getting into that thought of like that missing piece and then that residual effect going into now being an adult, right? I'm like, I didn't go through that, so I always try to learn and understand that. But I wonder if you ever thought about like where does mending their heart and mending their issues start? Because like for me, I didn't have to go through that, but I mean we've met people that have, and I always think about where do you think that starts at? Like where does, like you said, self-reflection, right? But how do you self-reflect on something that you never experienced?
Right. That's a great question and a great point that you bring up. So I can speak from my experience. Like I can't really speak for someone who's in that particular circumstance, right? So growing up, my dad was in my life, and you know, he had his flaws and whatnot. So he wasn't as much as a positive male figure that he could possibly be to me, right? So as a kid, like I would observe certain things and see them, and it would leave an imprint on me and on my heart, and just like how I thought relationships should be between men and women, and how I thought you should maneuver as a man. You know what I'm saying? But as I continue to grow, and as he continued to grow, I think that's the key. You can't not go through something and be able to reflect. You have to go through it in order to reflect. It comes down to your journey at the end of the day, right? So my father's journey was one of struggle, one of not making the right decisions, and of self-reflection, and analyzing the bigger picture of life, and analyzing what spirituality really is, and analyzing what's important, and analyzing what's family, to reflect and make that conscious decision and be like, you know what? I know now what I didn't know then,
Mm.
right? So for someone to be able to reflect, they have to live life. You
Right.
have to make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. As men, we're gonna make mistakes. I make mistakes to this day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But what's important is you have that consciousness of like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this right now because I know it's not right. Once like, that's a great start. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging like, okay, this may not be right. You're one step in the right direction, in my opinion. Like, okay, this may not be right. You do it and you feel terrible about it. Whatever that may be. You know what I'm saying? You
Mm-hmm.
know what's right. You like when it comes down to finances, when it comes down to relationships, when it comes down to whatever it may be, family, you know? And then it goes to the next level of like, okay, I know that's not right. I already made that mistake. I know how it feels to go through that. I'm not doing that to myself no more. What's next, right? I reflected on my decisions, and now it's time for me to evolve. But you have to really want that as a man. You have to really want that as a woman. You have to want that as a human being, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about the journey. It's really about the journey.
That's perfectly well said. I want to jump into something that you said though, which I thought was very important. We, when we have children or when we get married or anything like that, we're supposed to lead the household, right? We have to deal with our damage and our traumas and stuff like that before we can really lead a household. And I think a lot of people, not that they don't realize it, but I don't think a lot of people, especially men, want to really come forward and really say that. We sometimes as people go from either relationship or things and things without really fixing ourselves, without self-evaluation. And you,
Mm-hmm.
you said you have to live life. Um, but just like what you were saying, like your dad was your superhero or somebody that you look up to. So when he did something, it left an imprint. And that's why when you said that, it hit the point of like dealing with our damage first. That way we actually could lead the household. Obviously, we're not going to lead the household in a perfect way because nobody's perfect. But I think that's one of the big keys is trying to lead our household. And I think right now in the world, I can't speak for all, but households are being led in all these different directions because it's a pull.
For sure.
You know,
I agree with you, bro. And it's all about the influences you choose to subscribe to at the end of the day, right?
months ago.
Like how you decide to lead your household is a reflection of what you're subscribing to. Me, I'm a man of God. I'm a man of work hard, put that work in, dream big, and set no limitations to what you want to do. And with your faith, you can make it happen. With your faith and with your action, you can make it happen. But there's so many influences out there where it's like these trap like you got to understand, like a lot of younger guys are becoming fathers now,
Yeah.
and the influences are just different. Like money, sex, drugs has always been a thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you out acting some type of way, just like your son looks up to you and is like, oh wow, my dad's doing a podcast, like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying, he has merch and all of this stuff, he's like, that's cool to me. If you a gangster, right, and your son is looking at you, he's gonna be like, I want to be a gangster,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like my pops once upon a time was doing some shit and I was like, I want to do that. But once you change and your youngin is looking up to you, they're like, okay, this is how I have to do this. This is how I should be moving. So everyone is different, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you can't shape a grown man's mind. You can't really change them. I feel like something has to happen inside of them where it's like, I can't live like this anymore. But until that happens to them, I really feel like there's no change, or like there's nothing that the little one can do to, like, I mean, they can see different from other role models in their life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But like that direct my dad vibe, they're only gonna follow in their father's footsteps.
Right.
You know? And it's up to us as men to set that positive example, to show what it is to be a powerful person, to be a leader, to be responsible, to take care of your family, to put your family in better positions, you know? And even if you got to do that by being a gangster, that's fine, as long as you're being respectful to your little one and not showing it to them in front
Right.
of their face, right? Like the way you get money is the way you get money, as long as you're a provider,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? That's one thing about how I came up. I didn't know where the money was coming from, but my
Mm-hmm.
dad provided for me,
Right.
right? So, but I didn't literally like see what he was like doing, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you get older, you come to
Figure it out.
learn, like you have those conversations and then it's like, oh, okay, I get it now,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. And one of the things you said too, you said when somebody just says, "That's it, I had enough, and I want to change. I want to change." And in a way, I would say that's kind of like brokenness.
Yeah.
So mending being broken, and then also as you fix yourself, fixing, this is another different area we're going into. Friendships. Friendships are tricky because we all have different friends, and then we have acquaintances, right? And we have friends that are like brothers, but we all have different friendships and all have different ways of viewing it, and everybody's got different emotions. Um, but I feel like when you're mending, sometimes friendships are super important to that. Like I said, there's certain people you could talk to about certain things,
Right.
right? And you could be going through it, just like what you're saying. You know, you get to a point in life where you like, I'm done. But do you have somebody to lean on?
Absolutely.
You know?
That's another thing. The stereotypical man is not allowed to be vulnerable or
Mm-hmm.
emotional. But I feel like that's complete nonsense. Like you're gonna hold all of that emotion in you and then you're gonna like self-destruct if you don't have an outlet. So as a man, I feel like it's important to be emotional and vulnerable, not to a point where you're showing weakness,
Mm-hmm.
but to be able to lean on those select few people that you trust and that you can talk to and you know, share how you're feeling and stuff like that, right? But pride is the issue. People are too proud. People want to have this perception of like, yeah, I have it all together. Nothing's wrong in my like nothing's wrong with me. I have this this outer like I have this
Facade.
mask on.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mask on and it's like you ain't never going to know what's going on with me and I'm never going to tell you about it. But when that person goes home, they're going through it and they're like taking it out on everybody.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like being vulnerable, which is perfectly fine, and like, yo, Pat, man, I'm going through this situation. I don't really know how to handle it. Maybe you know something that I don't know, right? Maybe you can help me get through this situation and vice versa. I feel like as men, we need to be able to talk to one another, talk to whoever. Don't even gotta be one of your bros. It could be your lady. You know what I'm saying? It could be your uncle, whoever
Right.
you feel like you can vent to.
Right.
It's important for us to do that. Therapist, whoever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because having those conversations, those difficult conversations, or just getting something off your chest, you're releasing that energy. You're releasing that, whatever. If it's negativity, you're releasing that negativity. You're getting that burden off your shoulders. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to bottling it up, and then it's just a buildup and a buildup and a buildup. I'm guilty of doing that back in the day, right? And that's when I was making the worst decisions.
Yep.
And I'm like anxious and shit, like, you know? But once I'm able to talk to people, and not even talk, like, I talk to a lot of people, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I have no shame. If I'm going through something, like, on the outside, like, you know, I look good, but I'll cry to my brother. I'll talk to my lady. Like, I'll talk to whoever I got to talk to. And then when I come outside, you'll see me and I'm okay, but it's not like I'm holding that in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very important, bro. It's very important.
I think what you said too, which is the pride and the ego, bro. Like, pride and ego is something that, especially for like men, it's like in our DNA to like be like that. You know what I'm saying? To be macho, to deal with shit and just bury it and bury it and bury it. But like part of like mending is a word that no male wants to use is you got to be delicate. And I think that word right there, if a man hears that, I'm delicate, like what? But it's true. You got to be vulnerable. You got to be delicate. You got to be, like you said, you can't be nobody can walk on you. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to talk to somebody and cry. You got to be able to release what you feeling, because the same way you said that was the same way I was. It was just bottle it, bottle it, bottle it, and now I'm angry. And I'm not showing that I'm angry, but now I'm angry. So now when something really happens, it's like I'm exploding. And I'm not exploding in like a physical way of beating nobody up, but I'm just mentally like rage.
Yeah.
And then it leads you down this path of making bad decisions. And you're sitting there making bad decisions, and now you could be hurting people along the way. Like for me, I did that. I made bad decisions that really hurt people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that then led down the line to karma. I don't know if you're a believer in karma, but karma just came back and hit me right across the face.
Absolutely, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that's a testament of what you put out and how you handle certain situations, right? See, you reflecting on the bad stuff caused you to harm people. Bottling up that emotion and reflecting on that emotion caused you, in reaction, to harm people, which is a direct translation of life or death, right? Life is like having those emotions and venting, right? Death is like, I'm going to bottle those emotions. Handling situations that may cause controversy in a negative way is a death mind state. Handling situations of controversy in a life mind state can be like, yo, I'm gonna read the Bible right now. What can help me get through this situation? What positive way of thinking can help me get through this situation? And 9 times out of 10, that situation you're going through is right where you need to see it on a spiritual level in the Bible.
For sure.
Reference it. I'm going through this. Let me read this. It brings me peace. I'm going through this. Let me talk to somebody who speaks life into me. It brings me peace. That's important. Watch your mouth. Watch how you act, because of karma. That shit will come back and get you 100%. If you do wrong, you do foul, you're going to get done dirty, right?
No, that's a fact.
That's a fact. But if you're being a resilient person and doing things positive and reacting to situations positive in a state of controversy, it's up for you. It's
Yeah.
up for you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What a lot of people don't realize is spiritual attacks. When you're in a state of doing so good and then it's like a bunch of negative stuff is happening to you, the enemy wants you to react in that death mind state,
Right.
in a negative manner, to block your blessings. Because if you react to that, on the other side of that controversy is your breakthrough and is your blessing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You ever realize like you have like a big opportunity
Mm-hmm.
coming your way, right? And then it's just like mad bullshit start happening. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And if you don't get through that bullshit, it's gonna impact your opportunity. You
True.
get through that, you got this opportunity and you killed it, right? And it's like now more opportunities are coming your way, more blessings, more prosperity is coming your way. So just understanding that like concept in itself can be helpful for a lot of men and women alike. Period.
And I think that too, as men, we kind of have to. The best way to put it is like we kind of always on the go, right? So it's hard to sit back sometimes as a person, and that blessing can be coming. Like you said, sometimes it may not even just be negative; it just may be flat,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're like, I just did this, but now it's like it's flat. Why is it flat? I didn't do anything wrong. I'm still doing what I'm doing, but it's flat right now. And I think patience plays a role. You know what I'm saying? But for most men, it's like they always gotta constantly keep going. I think that's people in general, but we just gotta always have it. So we gotta always have. If we're not producing, we gotta produce more, rather than keep working and finding that blessing eventually.
Right.
You know. What I wanted to say earlier too, a saying that I really love is, "What's not transformed is transferred." We were talking when we were talking a little earlier. I forgot to mention it, but yeah, what's not transformed, like what's not worked on, self love, everything as a man is gonna be transferred, whether
Yeah.
it be onto our family, our friends, our relationships, our children, and I think that saying alone needs to be said more in the community.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be said more amongst brothers, like just period. Like we just need to. It just needs to be said. I feel like because at the end of the day we're so easy to do a lot more things for each other. You know, like as males, there's certain things we can talk about, certain things we can't, but there's also like this middle ground of like you just know, right? As a man, you just know certain things like joking and
Yeah.
certain shit talking. That's just with the culture.
Right.
But I think it needs to be more shown. Like, one of my homies and me, like my family thought it was not weird, but they thought it was like, oh, that's sweet. But like every time we would like see each other, it'd be like, I love you, brother. Like not a lot of people saying that.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? But and it's looked upon like, what did you just say?
So
But
like, let's talk about the culture though, bro. That just comes down to the culture of
mhm,
like how people are moving these days. People are not individuals no more. Nobody wants to
right.
be themselves. Nobody wants to be comfortable with who they are.
Mhm.
So just because somebody's like, hey, yo, pause. I mean, we be joking around and shit,
Mhm.
but it's like, nah, like I really, like I love you, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Some people don't hear that shit. I tell my bros that I love them.
Mhm.
And we don't say pause for that.
Nah, hell
Like
no.
if you say some shit, then it's like, hey, come on, bro.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
chill.
Mhm. Yeah.
But like when it comes to like, yo, I love you, bro. Like make sure you good. If you need anything, holla at me. That's really genuine, you know?
Mhm.
And it's okay to do that for your people.
Absolutely. Do you feel, obviously you believe in God and stuff like that. Do you feel where we start as a man with mending starts with him first?
I feel I'm biased, bro. I feel that everything starts with God.
Mhm.
Every blessing comes from God. I ain't shit without him,
Mhm.
right? That's how is that the question how I feel?
Yeah, because
That's how I feel.
sometimes like you just may ask people like, "Yo, how do you need to get better? Like how do we as people men for each other?" And a lot of people would say, "Well, I'll have your back," or, "Well, self-reflect and self-love." that's gonna be a lot of people's first answer. If you just went off topic, and you just went to random people and you said that simple question without mentioning God. But then if you really think about it, it's like, if I don't have a strong foundation with Him,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not able to mend where He's gonna carry a lot of my weight for me, then how am I gonna be able to do it for myself? That's why I asked that question.
And that, when you put it like that, everybody doesn't know God, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's okay.
Right.
Find an outlet. Find an outlet where you can release those feelings,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I was just on a field trip with my partners. I partner with a non-for-profit organization called 2%, and we go and we teach kids how to be financially literate. And I'm talking kids that are from like Canarsie,
That's fine.
like you know, from the
Mm-hmm.
hood, right?
Yeah.
And I have this one kid in specific that I was dealing with today, hothead, like insane. And I'm like, I want to know what's wrong with this kid. And I really felt concerned, like, yo, what is wrong with this kid? He was like, I'm like chaperoning them to take him to the bank so they can open up a bank account,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they can start their journey and like save money, and teaching them about high interest yield accounts and stuff like that. This kid is on the train, like messing with like people. I'm like, yo, chill out. Like, I asked him, I said, yo, what, like, tell me, like, what's wrong with you? Like, why do you act like this? He was like, I just like to crack jokes and be funny. And I was like, no, but like, why though? And he just put his head down. I'm like, yo, I told him, cause like, I'm gonna talk to him like he's my son. I said,
Mm-hmm.
somebody's gonna fuck you up one day.
Right.
Keep fucking with people, they gonna fuck you up, and then what you gonna do? You fucking
Mm-hmm.
with grown people on the train, you're 14 years old, somebody's gonna beat your ass.
Yeah, somebody's not gonna care.
Right? Sorry for my language though.
Mm-mm.
And then he looked at me, he was like,
Yeah.
I said, yo, why don't you like box? Like, why don't you go to boxing? Like, you should box. You should try MMA.
Yeah.
Like, to have that outlet of like, release all of that crazy energy, but don't do it in that way where you're terrorizing the community, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. A positive outlet rather than a negative
Right,
outlet.
right. So instead of bringing it straight to spirituality, channel your energy into a positive outlet, whether that may be working out, whether that's boxing. If you like, find like, that's why knowing yourself is so important. Find an interest that you have, something that brings you joy and that makes you happy. And when you're feeling some type of way, pursue that outlet. Pursue that form of whatever it is that brings you joy.
Mm-hmm. And I think the negative and positive outlet is big because, like you said, those little things, whether it be boxing or doing certain things, people that are abusive, right? Excuse me. People that are abusive, they sometimes don't have an outlet. And I don't know if you ever been in a house where somebody be punching walls and shit, punching doors. And you're looking at it and it's just like, that's their outlet.
You know what's
And
crazy?
their answer is sometimes, which is kind of sick, is, well, I didn't hit the person.
Be a UFC fighter. Instead of punching, breaking your furniture, you want to hit that person.
Mm-hmm. Get into UFC.
You ever seen The Water Boy?
Yes, the movie.
When he pictures when he was the water boy for that coach,
Mm-hmm.
and when he started playing,
Releasing the anger.
and then he pictured that guy, and instead of, you know what I'm saying, he's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna use this
Mm-hmm.
for that. Bro, whoever's punching walls that wants to punch somebody else, at least I ain't punch you. You could probably be the heavyweight champion of the world, Craig.
Nah, it's true. It's
You feel me?
Yeah, it's true. And there's so much that leads into that. That's why I like going back to childhood and into your teens and all that is important. To really just self-reflect. And man, there's a lot of people that are hurting out there, and therapy is a great thing. I'm a big advocate for that. But there's a lot of people that are hurting out there, and at the end of the day, you have to put the work in. Like I always tell people with therapy, they ask about therapy, and I'm like, therapy's great, but it gives you tools. You still have to put the work in. It's not like you go there and you get fixed. Like, no, you get the tools, you learn different tactics, and you gotta use it. But it can help you. It can transform the way you think and the way you handle people, life circumstances, maybe at somebody at work talking shit. You know, it's little things, but those little methods or those little ideas and outside thoughts can change a lot of things.
Absolutely. I agree with you, bro. It's a matter of wanting to also put the work in and not being the victim.
Hmm.
I feel like that's important too.
No, it definitely is. I think us allowing people to see also our past. Uh, you know, some people can't see, obviously can't, they don't see our past, but you know, just in that figured way of letting people see our past that we could help their future. Um, I had a real deep talk. It was recent. Um, I used to deal with like anger, and I used to deal with um jealousy. I used to deal with sometimes being a hater. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm being super honest and transparent. Being a hater. You know, this is pretty recent. You know, if she watches the pod, she'll probably know I'm talking about her. But um, like when I dated this person after I restarted dating, I'm not gonna lie. Before I started therapy and stuff like that, like I was always in a mindset like you'll never find no better. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
wanted to make myself believe that, right? And you'll never find no better. And Loki hating and hoping that she didn't, you know. And now time has gone, you know, years have passed. But I had came across something, which I just came across something, and it was in like almost like a negative fashion, not negative towards me, but almost like it maybe seen them going through something, and it hurt me because I want to see that person do so well now.
Mm.
Um, I think as a man that a lot of men, it's hard. It's hard for them to admit that. You know what I'm saying? To admit and then really say genuinely, I was a hater. I didn't want what's best for you, but I really want what's best for you. And like when I saw this thing, it was nothing bad of like the actual person, but you know the things you see on Instagram where it's quotes or you see something, and you know a lot of times people put up things, especially when they're going through stuff. So I just prayed on it and I prayed that you know they weren't going through it and that's just a quote they liked. But yeah, it's just I don't, especially that person. I don't want to see them do bad. I want what's best for them, and it took me a while to get to that point. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. How does it feel though to get that off?
It feels great. Like it's not easy because especially if you love the person. Like if you love the person, it's not easy. If it's just something where all right, we had something that, but when you genuinely love somebody and you wanted something with somebody, and then it's no longer, you know, it's no longer gonna be that way. It's hard to be like, yeah, like I really want what's best for them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're going through something, you're still in the lull of figuring things out. But it if yeah, it feels a weight off my shoulders. It's like a happiness, you know what I'm saying? It's a happiness to hope that they reach what they wanted to reach and what you spoke about. And I don't know about you, but I don't speak about these deep thoughts of like kids or getting married to just anybody. So, you know, for me, when we had those conversations, it's like sometimes you could get in that thought process of thinking, damn, like when they have kids, that's something we talked about. I wonder if they'll name them XYZ. Like it could be that deep. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, it's really getting to a level of understanding that you can have love somebody, you can love somebody, and it doesn't happen for you.
Yeah.
But you could also be extremely happy for that person and want the utmost, you know, joy for their family and for their heart.
Boom. I'm happy that you went through that, but that example that you just gave
Mm-hmm.
is a prime example of this conversation that we're having. It's about dropping that ego in a state of controversy. That's a state of controversy.
Facts.
Dropping that ego, being vulnerable, having that experience, and making the conscious decision to be like, I'm gonna take the steps to do something
Mm-hmm.
about it in a positive way. Speaking life. Now you're blessed.
Right.
You're gonna be blessed. You're gonna have you have a son,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful young son.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got a lot going for you. She's gonna be blessed too.
Exactly.
And it's like, you know what? That's okay.
Yep.
So
You're so used to the attachment
yeah.
where you then, you know, when it's a detachment, it's like you still, it's like that linger of like, you feel connected with them still, but you have to realize that it's completely gonna be two different ways. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like you said though, you can be blessed and find a happiness and a joy within something, and same thing for that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people in life just go through those moments of hurt, and some people have it last longer than others.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's that's definitely tough. I want to go back to talking when it comes to like something that I just spoke about, but talking to old friends. I don't know if you have people in your life that maybe try to reconnect with you
Mm-hmm.
as a friend.
Mm.
Um, but putting those differences and the ego aside for that as well,
Mm.
because sometimes we lose sight of friends and they come back in our life, and you realize that we're just on two different levels of thought, on
Mm-hmm.
two different levels of wanting to get to where we want to get to.
Yeah.
So, what do you do if that has happened to you? What do you do with an old friend or somebody that was an acquaintance that wants to almost find a connection with you again?
Man, that's a tough question for me
Mm-hmm.
because I struggle with that. Um, and that's where like I gotta drop my pride. That's like I'm not perfect
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like, you
No.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Absolutely.
I'm on some like get down or lay down because I'm positive. Like I'm not trying to do nothing grimy. And if you're not trying to get down, then it's like I don't really want nothing to do with you because we're not on the same type of time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I've had people like that reach back out to me and I had to, self-reflect and be like, you know what? I forgive you, right? I'm letting it go, but I don't really want to be your man's like that.
Right.
There's no hard feelings, but I can't pop out with you. You're not like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And there's still a level of respect there. Like, if you need something from me, I will help you still, but it'll never be the same. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's important to be able to forgive your friends. And that's what I'm learning. Like, okay, I forgive you. I'm not going to hold a grudge against you. But I feel like it can't be the same moving forward.
Right.
Depending on how severe, like,
It
whatever
was.
happened,
Right.
went down. Like, some people don't ever come back from stuff like that.
Right.
But I'm learning to have grace. So I'm going to give you that grace, but, like, I'm not going to forget anything.
Do you pray for your friends, even the friends of that nature? Because I I can't say everybody's prayers. But I feel like, at least for me, when I pray, I sometimes forget to do that. And if I'm being completely honest,
Mm-hmm.
like when I pray, when people pray, it's the first thing that come to mind, right? Like your family, your loved ones, your
Mm-hmm.
children. God, please, yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
But I want people to, if they don't and they do watch this episode, I really want people that do pray or want to start getting into prayer to pray for your friends. Pray for
Mm-hmm.
male or female friends just in your life. Whether you're super close to them or not, because like you said, you come outside, right? And it could be to, let's just say Kenny, for instance, and you're perfectly fine. But you just had a cry session with your girl. You know what I'm saying? People should still pray for people because you never know what the hell they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And also pray that the bond and whatever connection you need to have with them stays there. Because even though maybe you don't want to be that person's man's, you maybe will always be able to not feel how they feel, but feel them out. You know what I'm saying? And not get to a mental state where you just don't care. Because I mean, I think we all get to that sometimes with people where we get so sick and tired of their bullshit, we don't even give a hell to really
Mm-hmm.
sense how they feel anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't really a question. It's more just like a generalized statement by me saying that, like, I think people should really pray for their people around them.
Yeah. I think grace is like major. Having that grace and not really holding grudges against people is like a major thing that is a practice. and it takes time and it takes work. You got to be willing and able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And for sure, keeping that in mind, wishing people well, praying for them, and like, you don't want nothing bad to happen to anyone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What's God's idea of man, right? Compared to the cultural vision of what men are supposed to be.
Men, in terms of like God's vision,
Mm-hmm.
we're all gods. We're all like God, right? We all have the ability to define our reality, just like God created the earth. We have that power. It's up to us to either use it or to not use it. In society, men are powerful also, which is a direct correlation to what God created man to be.
Mm-hmm.
But now with society, you can go 1,000 different ways with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Um, it's like my player.
Mm-hmm.
What type of man are you gonna be? Everyone has the ability to have like different characteristics about them or choose different walks of life, and that's how you form your identity in society and in the world. But in God's eyes, we're all God. We're all like God. We all
Okay.
have a piece of God in us. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
pause.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sorry. We all have God.
Goodness, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So our goal in that sense is to walk like him. In society, like I said, is free game, bro.
Yeah.
Choose what you're gonna
Choose your
choose.
path.
Choose your path.
I also think too, the devil definitely tries to just devour us at any given chance he can. So within choosing that path, it's like not stay in the negative, just stay in the negative.
Mm-hmm.
Like that path, if that path is leading you to bad shit and you know it's bad shit, but it's feeding your ego, your pride, to stay in the negative, like when I think of God's idea, I didn't read the Bible like that. I would never try to front and act like I know everything. But when I think of culture, like the culture of man, it's so different because people have visions of what a man should be all different ways now. Because if you talk to a guy from the 1960s, he gonna tell you the man needs to do this, that, third.
Mm-hmm.
But we talk to somebody that's from the 2000, mid 2000s, they gonna tell you a man should act like this. Even when you talk about nowadays sports, right? Today was the draft. You got football players that paint their nails, right?
Got Lil Uzi.
Got Lil Uzi. You got things like of that nature that if men from the 1960s see that, they'd be like, that's not a man. You get what I'm saying? So the cultural aspect of it is it's annoying because it's really, again, your preference, right? Of whatever the hell you want to do.
I
But
support that, by the way.
what, the nail thing?
No, I'm like, I support to like you being whatever, like who you
Who
want to
you
be.
are. Mm-hmm.
Just because you rock your nails blue
Right.
doesn't make you less of a
Oh, man.
person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's like
Yeah.
scientifically, like, I'm sorry to cut you off,
No,
bro,
you good.
but like men, can reproduce with women
Mm-hmm.
scientifically.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes you a man.
Mm-hmm.
But the identity crisis is crazy.
It is.
But it's what you want to do. And that doesn't make you a bad person because you could be ethically like valid,
Mm-hmm.
morally valid, but
Right.
you just choose to like
Do whatever the hell you want to do.
look however the fuck you want to look.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, cause like doing whatever the hell you want to do doesn't really make you morally valid.
That's true.
But you could decide to like look wild and just be a good guy, but like that doesn't like you said, bro, it's just confusing.
Yeah.
Like society's definition of a man. So many versions.
Because you're led down these paths of thought, and let's be honest, we're all influenced in a way by something, and like you said, some people we look up to, whether it be sports, it could be family, it could be anything. We look up to something, so we're influenced by something. We have the thought process of something. Something as small as or as big as politics. People are influenced by certain things. They don't even know what the hell they talking about. But they're
Yep.
influenced by their family member that thinks they know what they talking about. And now they jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
You know, so it's definitely things like that. I do want to say one more thing on parenting. You can't parent, in my opinion, without proximity. I think that's something that people really need to know. You have to be around. You can't parent without proximity. That's just the last thing I wanted to say on parenting. But that's super key for a father, man. Be around as much as you can, if possible. I know, especially with work and all that things, men's got to do what they got to do to get their money to provide. But try to be there for your children as much as you can, just as a dad, because that time can't be taken back.
Absolutely. I want to add
Go
one more
ahead.
thing about parenting. Sometimes the valuable lessons that you can learn from your father, you don't necessarily learn from your father. You
Mm.
may learn it from a mentor, from a big bro, from one of your friends, and that's okay. I learned a lot of stuff from my OGs, bro. Some things that they have knowledge in that my pops may not have knowledge in. I absorb it like a sponge.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make them my biological pops?
Nope.
No. And there's stuff that my pops teaches me that I would never be able to learn from them because
Absolutely.
they did not walk. They're not like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I can learn that from my pops because he, so it's just a perfect balance of information and knowledge and being able to want to learn things to make you a better man.
A question as a man who has grown and gone through the ups and downs and learned. When's the last time you could and you didn't? So when I say you could and you didn't, it may be like it's not really even a joke, but just for me, for an example, for me, like I've grown in a certain aspect with women that I'm not just gonna jump but bro, when I was in my early 20s, I just jumped like shorty hit me up like you wanna that I'm getting up out of bed. It's like 12:30, 1 o'clock. I'm getting up out of bed. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like not even the time, fuck the time, but just the people and you know what I'm saying, and that. So like for me, just an example would be the last time I could and I didn't was somebody hit me up to do something similar, to that, and it was not late, nothing like that, and it was easy money if I wanted to. The person, but I didn't because I wanted to continue to grow and be like, y'all just don't want to just do that just to do that. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? I want some value behind when I do that. I want some value behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And some men may see that as like he's bugging, but that's just an example. So if you do have an example,
Yeah.
and it doesn't even have to be in that side of things, it could be on business side.
Yeah.
Anything.
I feel like no is one of the most powerful things that you can have, and it can make such a positive impact on your life.
Right.
So, man, that's like a loaded question, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of coulds but didn'ts. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just talk about it, right?
Yep.
But let's keep it on the business tip, right? I have clients. I have a creative agency called In-House that I run with Christina.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Shout
have,
out.
yes, and I have clients that come to me and her for stuff that doesn't necessarily fulfill us or, do anything for our trajectory of where we want to be.
Right.
And sure, we could take that bread, but we don't
Mm-hmm.
because it does nothing for us.
Right.
It's like, what's the bigger picture here? Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's on the business tip.
Mm-hmm.
On some other shit, some like real life stuff, I had, oh man, I'm not gonna name drop anybody, but
The smile before he's saying this week.
I got people that do everything, and they're good. Like they're good people. Like just because you do a certain thing doesn't mean you're a good person.
What do you mean by that? I was playing. Yeah, keep
Nah,
going.
like they do shit.
Yeah.
They get it how you live, right?
Mhm.
But they're good people.
Right.
They just have no other way to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some point in time where I had to pay a significant amount of money for something to
Mm-hmm.
get done. And I could have gotten it done. But as I analyzed the situation, I thought about karma. And I made that mistake. I was doing that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing they was doing. I used to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered this crazy downfall I took.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I thought of that and I was like, sure, I can have you handle all of this for me and my problems, my
Right.
financial problems for this specific situation goes
Mhm.
away. I don't gotta put my nothing up. But I decided not to, bro.
That's
And
good.
it's because of karma and I didn't want to have to deal with that. I just felt different, bro. Like when you go through certain things, you start to feel different. It's just bringing it
Facts.
back to our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the topic in whole. Like you got to go through life. You do something once, you feel bad about it. It gets presented to you again. You change. Like, yo, nah. I already know what that comes with.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't align with what I'm really trying to do in my journey of being the best version of myself. So I'd rather get it out the mud. You know what I'm
Do it
saying?
the right way. Yeah, doing it the right way. Um, one of the last things I want to talk about is submitting our will. Um, this is a spiritual term. Um, submitting our will to God. Um, as humans, not just as men, as humans, we want to control what goes on in our lives. We want to control where we want to go. I think we speak to most people, they probably want to see where their life is gonna take them, you know. And I'm sure if you showed some people, hey, listen, it's come's gonna come, but comfort ain't gonna come until you this age. But you wanted this for 10 years prior. You probably be like, hell nah, I ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but in a way, like when I say submitting our will, I think as men we have to submit to the fact of like not only just our bads, but also our goods too. You know what I'm saying? And giving that all to him and kind of letting him guide us where we need to go without question. And I think we as people have a lot of questions and it's normal
Yeah.
because sometimes it's like this don't even make sense when I'm trying to just do all the right stuff, but this is where you want me to be?
Mm-hmm. Timing, bro. It's as simple as timing, not our timing.
Right.
The Lord's Prayer is, Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, right? So it's like, order my steps and guide my path. I'm not in control. I know the desires of my heart, and so do you. So does God. So does whoever you believe in. You gotta believe in something though. You can't just be like, I don't believe in nothing, nigga. Like,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is you believe in, like the universe knows your heart's desires. You can control only what you can control. Everything else, you gotta just let it unfold. If you putting in deposits, daily deposits of things that spark your interest and that your heart desires, it's inevitable that pile up of work that you put in comes to fruition. When it happens, not really up to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But if you do 100 push-ups a day, what's gonna happen? If you do 100 push-ups a day for
Stronger.
the rest of your life, you're gonna be brolic,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And be stronger. Yep.
But you're doing it with intention. You're intentionally doing 100 push-ups a day. If you're intentionally doing something that your heart desires and you're like, damn, I'm still here, but you only been doing it for 2 months and you have this long road and like you're not ready to receive the blessings that come with that, because like you got to soul search, you got to be able to receive that,
Right.
right?
Right.
Then it's not going to happen until it's your time. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still waiting for my time. Things are happening.
Right.
I'm continuing to put in that work, those daily deposits. Thy kingdom come,
Mm-hmm.
that will be done on earth as it is in heaven. You feel me?
Yeah.
Order my steps, got my path.
Time will show. Honestly, all the work you put in, time will show. And it has shown. I mean, me knowing you on a personal level, your work has completely shown. You
Thank
put
you,
in the
brother.
time. I mean, there's a lot more left that you got to conquer, but you know what I'm saying? The steps that you're taking, it's only gonna go. Obviously, I'm sure there's things in your personal life that you want to happen right now, and
Facts,
you're
bro.
wanting it right now. But
Bad.
it's gonna happen. I
Badly,
know,
bro.
absolutely.
I'm just like
Absolutely.
anybody who wants it bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it's gonna
Gotta
come.
be patient. Yeah.
Right?
Nah, it's facts.
Even Fab said it. Hard work pays off. You get what you put in.
Mm-hmm.
Can't stop now. Gotta keep pushing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shit me?
Perfect.
Come on, bro.
For real. You know, I think we should do, and I've seen people do it before, but we should really have. I really want to do this. I would love to have, maybe, especially in the summertime, like a mended men's brunch.
Let's go.
Like,
Mimosas.
like a
We gotta
good
have some. We
time.
gotta have some joints too. Pull up.
Like a good
Brunch. You
time.
talking brunch?
Nah, for sure. But a good time.
I'm just playing, bro.
I know you are. But a good time where it's like we can enjoy, have fun, but we can also speak about real shit in that setting. Because you know what's funny is that I find in a lot of people, especially mixed with a little bit of alcohol, that's when a lot of people's true feelings come out. Them shits that they be holding inside, you start getting around talking, and it really hits different. So I would love to do something like that. I hope I could set up something like that in the summer. I think it would be good. And I even think we should do one for the ladies as well.
Yeah.
Because women have a lot of things as well that they go through, trauma that they don't really get to speak on.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Absolutely.
I think they definitely deserve that as well. Before we get out of here, bro, let everybody know where they can find your stuff, because Comf is a brand that is exploding right now. You know, you're doing your thing, man, with all the designs and everything like that. I mean, summer's coming, so I know you got some heat for the summer.
Hello.
The slippers just came. Like, listen, man, explain to the people right now on this podcast really what's coming for the summer, and then also where they can find your stuff, because they really need to lock in.
For sure. Before I do that, I support you, bro. I'm proud of you, bro.
Thank you.
And I agree that there should be a safe space. And if anything you need from me to make that happen, you already know how we rock. So we good.
Mm-hmm.
Now back to this. You can find Comf on comfnyc.com. This summer, if you're not doing anything, on June 8th, we're having a pop-up shop. You could come through, get you some fits for the summer, get you some hoodies, some tracksuits, you know what I'm saying? Some socks. The Comf slippers, they're called Comf because they're comfy. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, if you like it, tap in, comfnyc.com.
So many different varieties of things too, y'all. Definitely, as a person that has got stuff and worn it, is A1 quality. And yeah, like I said, you put the work in, people see the product, people put the product on, people, you know what I'm saying? It's something that you're an example for people who want to just get it. You know what I'm saying? You're a pure example of that. So you should definitely be proud of that, man. Definitely be proud of that.
Thank you, bro. It's happening.
Absolutely.
It's happening. One day at a time.
Absolutely.
That's it. It's happening.
I appreciate you, man, for being here. This was something that was needed.
Absolutely.
I hope the women watch this too and really tap in. There's a lot of little gems that I think could really come out of this. And for the fellas, listen, don't be scared. Say how you feel. You know, talk to your lady, talk to your friends, talk to your family, your parents if they still around. You know what I'm saying? Do the due diligence and love yourself, because you're not gonna be able to lead anybody without having that true love for yourself and that true understanding of where you need to go as a man. And with that being said, Ish, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
That's another episode of the Culture Shop Podcast.
Love you, bro.